What's up, guys, and welcome back to Star Leader Pro Series Season 11. We are in the winner's bracket. London Conspiracy is going up against DeVry Team. I'm just going to call them DT because that's a lot easier. It's a best of 3, and we'll see who gets to move on, who gets to drop down to losers. I'm Mike Loris. Got Coucha here for now, though. I don't know if that's going to stick for the whole best of 3. Either way, how are you doing today, man?
I'm quite fine, and coming into this, I do believe London Conspiracy must be the favorite just because, well, I've seen them play in the recent past, whereas for Dota, no clue. I do believe I've seen Bogdan before in some team, but I really haven't seen those 5 players play together at all. But then again, from the just group stages, I guess, them getting into the upper bracket must kind of mean something already, so should be a great match. But London Conspiracy, from what I saw of them, they rolled over Vega Squadron, which is an extremely strong team, to be honest. The last I saw them just clean 2-0 win, so I'd have to give them a slight edge here.
Yeah, I think most people are probably going to agree with you on that. I have actually, unless I'm just forgetting something, have not casted anyone from DT, so as you said, it does speak for itself, the fact that they are in the winner's bracket, but London Conspiracy, they're no slouches, and they should have the edge. We'll see how it actually pans out in the future. We got some, well, kind of more curious bans in the Ember Spirit. Vengeful Spirit taking a ban rather early, though I think that's justifiable. DeVry gonna pick up Witch Doctor and Ancient Apparition, so they have 2 of their supports already lined up. I could only expect going to be setting up for something along the lines of a Void Tide within their next couple of picks, or, you know, unless they're banned out.
Yeah, if I was LC, I would definitely look to ban out at least one of those heroes. I guess it's hard to say. In some cases, Tidehunter is a little bit scary just because Ravage is a huge AoE spell, and just double Ravage is pretty devastating to go up against. But at least you can build BKB to get rid of it, whereas Chronosphere, even a BKB won't help you in most cases. So I think Faceless Void ban should definitely come out. Maybe even the Tidehunter, like you mentioned. But for LC, they do start with a hero. No idea if it's going to be support or what, but looks like pushing is in the just stars for them. I'm not too sure if they're like on a time limit or something that they have somewhere to get to, but just an all-out pushing strategy, what it looks like to be at the moment, isn't all that common these days.
Yeah, it's seen from time to time, and it is fairly easy to stop. I mean, you get all this tower gold, but you get less tower gold, and then if you mess up once, then suddenly your pushing is just not going to work anymore. You need some sort of backup plan. Fortunately for LC, Lycan is a decent backup plan. If you get him a good start, even though you may not be able to win the game, he'll be able to get enough advantage so that you could win the game a little bit later. But either way, going for pushing is actually pretty good against Witch Doctor and Ancient Apparition so far. Both those 2 heroes don't really have that many ways of, you know, clearing creep waves first of all, but also just straight up fighting early on. They might not want to be doing that. Usually, generally, taking levels, taking farm when you can get it as those 2 heroes is a little bit better, but we'll see how deep London Conspiracy actually want to go in their pushing. I mean, they ban out the Queen of Pain, so maybe they're going to decide to pick up some sort of AoE, though, or rather mass units, but Enigma, Broodmother taking the ban out from DT, and it seems like DT, they know exactly what's up. I mean, obviously, it's kind of clear, but how far will London Conspiracy go with this pushing strategy? Will they go all in, or will they stop for a minute and, you know, take care of some of their other priorities like laning or teamfight?
Well, from the bans, you would definitely think that it might be maybe not completely all in, but semi all in, just at the least. So we'll see. Definitely, I think the Broodmother was a nice ban considering what London Conspiracy banned themselves. But now, will we see the Faceless Void or the Tidehunter? Both would definitely be nice, but for London Conspiracy, what heroes would even just fit the bill for them? I guess you can still try to go for like Enchantress or Chen. Enchantress actually can do quite a lot late game as well if you have the Aghanim Scepter. But can they maybe consider something like a Wind Ranger, just have the focus fire for the extra push?
Yeah, you go something like the Wind Ranger. You could go for Nature's Prophet even with Howl that could get pretty ridiculous. Maybe not as ridiculous as Broodmother or Enigma, but if you have a couple of Treants, then those things suddenly hurt like hell, and it's going to be pretty difficult for the DT side to actually catch up to the Nature's Prophet. Right now, only have Paralyzing Cask as their form of CC. Good against Lycan, but that's about it. So I do expect London Conspiracy to pick up one of those 2 heroes. I think it's pretty much a toss-up between Enchantress and the Nature's Prophet, but DT, they're going to grab the Tidehunter. We said already, it combos very well with the Witch Doctor and Ancient Apparition. It's also a hero that could fight very early on. Anchor Smash early on is ridiculous.
Oh, it most certainly is, man. It's great throughout the entire stages of the game, pretty much. At least Lycan isn't just base damage based. so to say, gets a lot of damage just from the extra damage coming out from the Vladimir's offering, as well as his Feral Impulse, the passive. But now, Doveriet, they're going for a Templar Assassin, so they have the team fights from the Ravage, Ice Blast, as well as the Death Ward. Of course, Death Ward gets some extra value when Meld is on somebody. And Templar Assassin, I guess... I mean, Shakiro is decent-ish in dealing with the refraction charges. Skyrife Mage, I guess Mystic Flare gets rid of them fast as well if you can actually stun the Templar Assassin, but...
5 seconds
is it
remaining.
going to be like Templar Assassin versus Lycan mid lane? Because if it is, Templar Assassin in most cases does really well in that lane.
Time.
Yeah, I think for right now that's a reasonable expectation, but when you think of counters versus Templar Assassin, well, I wasn't going to say Axe, first of all, I'm just going to say that right now. Usually Venomancer comes to mind. It seems like LC are going to be running a very light CC draft. I mean, they have the call now to set up for the Ice Path, but that's about it. If they do want to go for the Venomancer, I think that'll be probably just a nail in the coffin. Skyrife Mage Jakiro as supports. Get a core Venomancer on the table. It'll deal well with the Templar Assassin, and it'll get you those extra bits of pushing power with those wards. But Axe is actually the pick for LC. Can't say I'm too upset about seeing an Axe. Still is extremely fun to watch. And up against DT, well, I mean, they're pretty darn soft. And usually when you pick up an Axe, if it's in response to the Tidehunter, you're going to be winning that lane, assuming you could match those two heroes up against each other. Axe walks all over Tide in lane.
Yeah, especially if it should be a safe lane Axe for London Conspiracy, because on the Dire side, you can just side pull through your own creeps, then go to the enemy creep wave, Berserker's call the Tidehunter with the creep wave, either kill him or make him back off, then you go to the side camp, farm that up as well. I'm not sure if it was with you, but with somebody, I saw an Axe hitting level 6 like 3.5 minutes in or something crazy like that. So if all works out perfectly for him, an Axe can completely snowball that lane. But for that to happen, London Conspiracy, they either have to expect an aggressive tri-lane from Doveriet and have Tidehunter just on his own safe lane and Axe off lane. But for LC, if they should try to just go aggressive tri-lane and go tri-lane versus tri-lane, Ancient Apparition Witch Doctor +1 is definitely not too easy to go up against.
Yeah, Ancient Apparition +2 is so hard to go up against, and Witch Doctor pretty much guaranteed value off the Chilling Touch, just being a ranged hero. Really doesn't matter who the 5th person is, or the 3rd person, I guess, in that tri-lane. It is going to be the Juggernaut, and that's just going to make it even more dangerous for LC. Though Axe is actually pretty useful against Juggernaut. Call does go through that spin. It's just another hero for DT to fight early. They got the Juggernaut, Templar Assassin, Tidehunter. They know that they're going to have to deal with a lot of early aggression, and Blade Fury is, I don't want to say the best like early spell to have on your team, but it's certainly up there. The spin is going to be invaluable at as far as DT's ability to take these fights, but LC, they still have the Axe to deal with the Juggernaut. They have answers. They could even just brute force him down. Like with Lycan and Axe, that is acceptable. It's perfectly reasonable to see just Juggernaut thinking he's safe in the spin, but all of a sudden he's losing HP a little bit too quickly. So it's going to be DT on the defensive for most of this game, and I think they're pretty well equipped to deal with it, especially once they get level 6 on the Tidehunter, level 6 on the Juggernaut. Then, you know, just getting random pickoffs is all they need to really just slow LC down and make sure that this game drags on just a little bit more.
Yeah, it's for them at the moment, it's getting the level 6 on Ancient Apparition as well is going to be rather key. Of course, if they can somehow make the laning so that they can shut down the Lycan early, then that's going to give them just a huge timing window where they can just freely farm, not be too worried about Lycan just either split pushing or them going S5 for the tier 3s or something. But I guess shutting down the Lycan is probably going to be the hardest part. But what I would like to see is Juggernaut maybe going for that early Mask of Madness, for example. Go for like Treads, Mask of Madness, maybe Ring of Aquila on top of that, and Poorman Shield, something like that. And go for like a level 9 Roshan. I actually saw the last Juggernaut do that. I was legit surprised. Just level 9 Juggernaut, solo Roshan, no problems.
And if you have a Templar Assassin on your team, you don't have to solo it. You jump in there with Meld, and it gets just a little bit faster. And, you know, it's a build that lets you fight extremely early on. And again, that's what really the DT side are looking to do. I think for the build for Juggernaut this game, probably just not Manta style is going to be the bare minimum. Not that great versus an Axe. And, well, for LC, it's going to be a Rubik as their last pick. Not really a showstopper Rubik, unless, of course, you grab either the Tidehunter ultimate, hell, even grabbing Juggernaut's ultimate, Witch Doctor's ultimate. Those are all really nice skills to have. But other than that, as far as his role in the early stages as a support, he gets, you know, a little bit mediocre. He has the crowd control for the lift, which is something that LC desperately needed. But aside from that, not too much of an impact early on as far as being aggressive. So LC, their aggression isn't going to start from minute 0. It's going to need a couple of levels on their heroes before they actually start to look for those towers. And that just means that DT are going to have more time to farm up their Tidehunter, get into level 6, get the Templar Assassin a little bit bigger, stuff like that.
How will LC even lane this? I mean, I guess it's probably going to be the Chikiro core here. Although there's a small chance that the Scarif Mage can be played as core as well. Definitely not that popular these days, but it can work out every now and then. Maybe not the best in the mid lane against Templar Assassin, just because Templar Assassin's Fly Blades would eat the Scarif Mage alive. But if it's Rubik and Scarif support, who is even in the 4 role and who is in just pure hardcore support?
Man, I have no idea. Usually those two are juggled a little bit closely, but I would expect Rubik to play, or the Scarif Mage to play a little bit more hard support. Up against a Tidehunter, you generally want your Rubik to get something along the lines of mobility, 4-staff Blink Dagger, and if he's going to be playing full 5 support, then that's probably going to be a little bit more difficult for him to do. It is going to be an offlane Jakiro, actually. LC more than happy to just throw the Axe towards the mid lane. I mean, I talked before about how good Axe was against Tidehunter one-on-one in lane. Versus Templar Assassin, gotta say I haven't really seen this matchup too often, but it's not that terrible. The problem with Axe in the mid lane is that you get a lot less room to just chase down your enemies, and you get a little bit less flexibility as far as camps you could shift over to, or stuff like that.
Yeah, he went for an immediate point into counter Helix as well, so at least from the first level onwards, doesn't plan to go for the Battle Hunger and harass that way. But it's not even that easy to just, it's not like, oh, I'm going to put Battle Hunger on Templar Assassin and I'm going to win the lane. You just have to time it so that Templar Assassin really has no way to either deny a creep or just last hit one, because if he has refraction charges for the damage, it is so easy for her to just get any kind of last hit, whether it be deny or just killing creeps.
Well, the game is going to start with Spartan trying to clear out a couple of those vision wards. He's going to drop very low to a Tidehunter, and this Tidehunter, I mean, he has Anchor Smash level 1, that's reasonable, but if he had Gush, that could have been a lot of pain on that Rubik. I don't want to say death, but it certainly would have been close. Either way, top lane now blind for the Tidehunter. And before we get into anything else, it should be good if we introduce who's playing what. On the DT side, we got Arc playing, Arc playing the Tidehunter. On mid lane, it's going to be General playing the Templar Assassin. Bottom lane, the defensive tri-lane, Anba on the Witch Doctor, Bogdan on the Juggernaut, and then on the Ancient Apparition, it is too easy for Breezy pulling as the Ancient Apparition.
And for LC, Madara will be the offlane Jakiro for them, leaving relaxed on the mid lane on the Axe, with the defensive tri-lane consisting of Skanks on the Scarif Mage, Spartan on the Rubik, and the last is going to be Kaiser on the Lycan, who will have just more or less uncontested free farm at the moment. The one thing that they might have to do though is just block the Ancient Cap for the Radiant side.
Yeah, that shouldn't be too hard to do. If you're going to be zoning out the Tidehunter this hard, this early on, you could reasonably assume that he's either going to be stacking his Ancients, and if he can't do that because they're blocked, then he's going to be stacking somewhere. So pretty much no matter what, DT are going to get something on this Tidehunter, but we'll see if LC are actually privy to this fact. The Scarif Mage is thinking about doing that, and he will start blocking off those Ancients. Got a good look that there is a double stack there, so Tidehunter, level 1 with 0 experience, and that's probably going to remain the case for just a little while longer. That's one of the downsides of starting Boot first. I think he probably assumed that Axe was going to be up against his lane, although really Boot's first up against any possibility lane for LC wouldn't have been too terrible. He can't really jungle that effectively for a very long time. He needs level 2 or level 3 or a Stout Shield or something like that if he really wants to clear the jungle.
Yeah, I would think level 3 is kind of a necessity as well. You can even go for 2 points into Kraken Shell while being level 3 and just have the Anchor Smash at level 1. It would do to just get something at least out of the jungle, because at the moment he's getting nothing done. He has no idea that the Ancients got blocked either. He did place down a Sentry Ward himself, but that was more to just kind of deny the vision for LC if they had any there, but Sentry Ward completely wasted. Whereas LC themselves, one Sentry to block the Ancient Camps, which definitely cannot be said that it's wasted. The second one got the Observer Ward down early. So the Ward Wars, or just LC are winning it at the moment.
And if we take a look at the bottom lane, talking about how Tidehunter is having the worst time in the world, Madara's actually having a really good time, and I think that's mostly because DT have a shortage of, I guess I could say, initiation, crowd control in this lane. They have damage in spades. Hell, if the Juggernaut gets close to Jakiro, Blade Fury won't outright kill the dragon, but it'll be really, really darn close, especially if he has Chilling Touch help with him on the other two heroes. So if they actually do catch up to Madra, they could kill off the Jakiro, but just being a ranged hero, just having the ability to liquid fire, poke at the enemies, he's doing very well for himself until he gets surrounded. That's not where you want to be. He's going to get everything applied to him. There's even a Maledict there, and Madra's going to get frozen into the spot. This is going to be our first blood. Who's going to take it? Maybe the Ogres if Madra's really lucky. No, it's going to be Anba. Okay, so, yeah, they were short in the initiation, but if you kind of go right into a pincer like that, yeah, it's going to be a free kill for DT.
That was, I'd say, a huge misplace, of course. He was doing so well, so he felt a little bit too safe, maybe, but I'm not too sure what he was thinking going in like that. It was almost 100% suicide mission there. At least he's still doing fairly fine. I mean, giving away first blood is never good, but at least it wasn't for the Juggernaut.
Yeah, and Jakiro is a hero that you could die with and still be 100% A-OK. Really, all he wants to get is that liquid fire, and he's going to get that eventually. But someone in trouble right now, Ark, is going to get called in the river, and Relax just with 2 spins off of 1 unit. With the Battle Hunger, he's going to chase down this Tidehunter, although no, Ancient denied. Ark is not going to, okay, those Ancients are lazy. Relax got a really long axe swing, and he managed to get the kill. Well, I guess that was kind of lucky for the axe to begin with, just getting those 2 spins off of 1 unit, but this is a level 5 axe we're talking about versus a level 1 hero. Hell, a level 5 any hero versus a level 1 hero would have been that easy, but now he's going to get initiated upon. Cask is there, Maledict as well. He's going to spin a couple times, but he's going to get frozen in place. No, actually he won't. He'll dodge that for now, but still being chased down. Will be brought down. Witch Doctor is going to grab that kill on the axe. I mean, these 2 heroes, as I said, they have a lot of damage, especially if you go for a level 2 Maledict. So, yeah, Anba delivering a little bit more damage than Witch Doctors ordinarily do, and Axe is going to pay the price.
Look at it go.
Yeah, they didn't even use Chilling Touch for that, just because Parisi did not have enough mana there. So it could have been even easier, but really nice kill, just as he was level 6 himself. So lots of XP gain for the Ancient Apparition and the Witch Doctor. And this early on, them being almost level 4 for both, actually Ancient Apparition almost level 5 even, that is just excellent. If they get a decently timed level 6, it's just suddenly so much easier to stop the push from LC.
Alright, and on the bottom lane, Juggernaut, he's well on his way to his level 6. He's actually gone for a little bit more crit than Blade Fury. It's not ordinarily the build that we see on Juggernauts, opting for no healing ward. This is again a build purely designed for fighting, although I probably would have liked to see the Blade Fury level 3 instead. Blade Dance is a skill that gets better later on, so as far as what it's going to be doing in this game, I don't really see it doing that much, but over up towards top, Ark is in so much trouble right now. These 2 supports can work him down. They're going to try to give it to Lycan, and it looks like they'll be successful. Keys are going to grab a kill on the Tidehunter, who still is not finding anything. Still has not gotten actually just anything at all. Just 134 experience over this entire game. It's a sad life for Tide.
It's just one of those games, man. Tidehunter usually does fairly well in any kind of offlane, but this game just... He went up, suddenly died straight away. Of course, I think he would have been able to leech the level 2 earlier a lot more easy, just because damage output would have been a lot less from LC, but... I mean, at least now he's getting something. He's going to be hitting almost level 3 even from this. Compare that to the Jakiro, he's 5.5. Still, you can't compare it at all, I guess. Even the Skyriff Mage now is in the mid lane, just soaking up some XP while Axe goes into the jungle, which he can do easily. Same for the Lycan. So they might even try to like double jungle and have both the supports just get the XP from the lanes.
Well, they've already stacked up the jungle pretty highly. It was probably 4 or 5 stacks of neutrals being accrued up. I don't really got a good eye on who actually did that for LC, but fact of the matter is it was done. Whereas for DT, they have a triple stack of hard creeps. Probably Templar Assassin is going to be the one to clear that. I mean, they want to give it to the Tidehunter, but you have to wait so long for the Tidehunter to be capable of doing that. Right now, fortunately for him, he's up against just a Rubik, so as far as his ability to gain levels, now it's on the table, but still until he could clear that camp very safely, it's going to be a little bit more effort. So I wouldn't mind seeing General grab that. Right now, Templar Assassin has been fairly passive in this game, hasn't left the lane to roam around or anything like that. Again, playing into the defensive style that DT are going to be forced into this game, but Templar Assassin, as far as her explosiveness, is going to get to a point very soon where she can just run around and, well, first of all, insta-give the supports, but even put a lot of hurt onto the likes of Lycan or even the Axe before he gets that call off.
Yeah, she also has a haste rune bottled up, so if at one point she decides to go aggressive with the haste rune, it's going to be just fine. Maybe he's going to try to make Axe back off a little bit and then just use the haste to pick up the next rune as well, something like that. But haste rune just should usually mean easy kills for Templar Assassins if it's just even a little bit favorable for you. But looking at the bottom lane, Bogdan, more or less pre-farming as well, 48 last hits, 20 for denies at the same time. what's the next item? He's just saving up for something. Is it Mask of Madness? Is it maybe even just something like a Blink Dagger?
Probably not a Blink Dagger, I would say, at least right now, until, well, maybe he's gonna get the Blade Fury maxed out by the time he wants the Blink Dagger, but generally that's what you want to have happen. Blade Fury and Blink Dagger and Omni Slash to all be lined up at the exact same time. If he does go for a Mask of Madness, it would make perfect sense, as he has gone for a Blade Dance heavy builds. Gotta get some crit value if you're gonna be attacking a lot faster, then that's going to be a little bit easier for you to get those crits, but he could even just straight up rush an Aghanim Scepter right now if he really wanted to. He is not being pressured at all. LC, they have this aggressive lineup. So far, haven't really been playing it too aggressively. They're going to be waiting for just a little while longer as Relax wants to get his Blink Dagger before they really start to go off, and Jakiro probably wants to get that level 4 Liquid Fire, although he can go right now. LC, have yet to apply really any pressure to the DT side.
I mean, I'm not too sure about you, but it kind of feels that DT farming up, of course they cannot really go too aggressive just because Tidehunter doesn't have his Ravage yet, and probably won't have it for quite some time still, plus the Blink Dagger is God knows how far away for him. But that means just Lycan has a little bit extra time to get the Vlads, maybe a Medallion even, or just get closer to the Necrobook, for example. And I think LC might be just a tiny bit scarier in their just kind of timing when they're going to start the push and everything. Whereas if DT at that time when LC are ready to come and they still don't have Ravage or maybe a Blink Ravage or any kind of Blink initiation, they just suddenly might be facing a death ball that they cannot really deal with.
Well, I think they should have Ravage by the time LC want to make a play. Tidehunter has got level 5. He's getting roughed up real bad by these neutrals. Anchor Smash unfortunately missing those trolls and getting roughed up because of it. But Tidehunter right now is well on his way to being able to contribute something into this game, whereas, you know, before it didn't really look like that was a possibility. If LC made a play for one of the DT towers pre-Tide level 6, they probably could have gotten away with it. But so far, they're just happy to get, as you said, a little bit more farm. They are going for one Hand of Midas on the Lycan, responded to by a Hand of Midas on the Templar Assassin, which is flying out to her right now. But as soon as I say Tidehunter almost level 6, LC, they're going to group up as a whole bunch, grab the Blink Dagger. First of all, they're going to take down this tier 1 tower. Probably was going to be uncontested either way, but now they're ready to fight because Axe does have that initiation.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Oh god, the Axe Blink is gonna be so damn huge. Of course he's not that tanky himself yet. And Juggernaut, he's only about 1.1k away from actually finishing the Aghanims. I guess level 1 like Aghanims isn't that strong, but if it's a level 2 Omni Slash and you get the Aghanims, it would be just like a level 3 Omni Slash. And they're gonna get the tier 1 of their own as well. Mid lane though, the Blink comes out. General in some trouble, might even go down here. Do they have some detection though and Relax? I don't think so, but General meld on cooldown for a little bit longer. Blink! Berserker Skull, 1 second! Oh god, nope. The slows last for a little bit too long from the Psionic Traps.
Well, no kill's gonna happen in the mid lane, but over in the side lanes, one tower for one tower. Someone got a little bit too close. It was Anba taking a concussive shot, but there's no Axe here, so luckily for him, he gets to live. But I can't say the same for his tier 2 tower. It is going to take a fall. LC making a death blow. It took them a little while to get things going, but all the pieces landing into place. Got the Vlads up, got the maxed out Liquid Fire, and suddenly all the towers are down. But over towards mid, Relax going deep versus General. He's going to drop very low. He's going to miss the Culling Blade, and now he's in a lot of trouble. He needs to blink out, but he won't have the time to. TA is going to grab that kill. Axe, so very close, yet so very far, is going to give over that kill. But taking 2 towers in exchange, not the worst trade for LC. Definitely not a trade they want to be making all too often. As Templar Assassin, if you give her an inch, she will take a mile, and especially having your Axe die this early on. Right now, Axe is supposed to be the most devastating hero on the map, and he still is, but he's just not supposed to die whenever he goes in.
Yeah, it was just level 4 meld. It does a crazy amount of damage, as we just saw. And you're tanking up the tower at the same time. I do believe Axe, first of all, he misplayed the situation in the river earlier. He should have waited for the Berserker Skull to come off cooldown and then blink, rather than blink next to Templar Assassin, still be slowed by the Psionic Trap and not have the Berserker Skull. But this time around, he just got purely unlucky. He had the entire creep wave with the Berserker Skull, while the Templar Assassin was caught by it as well. Yet, just wasn't too lucky on the spins. One more spin would have meant that the Culling Blade also is in the threshold.
Well, a lot of would have, should haves, and Axe, unfortunately, is going to take a death because of it. They're going to smoke up, and they're going to find Anba. With the hunger, they're going to slow him down. They're going to steal the cask as well, but they don't really need it. Do they need it? No, they probably don't need it. There you go. Witch Doctor down. Culling Blade going to snag that kill. In the meantime, Jakiro and Lycan going to grab the first tier 1 tower on the bottom lane. They're going to keep on going. There's an Aghanim Scepter on the Juggernaut. There is a Ravage up on Tidehunter. There's actually a Blink Ravage on the Tidehunter, so now is probably the DT's best chance at actually stopping the push from LC. Do they want to risk it, however? It seems like this pushing is just too fast, so really they won't get much of a choice, but now they're going to teleport someone in. Tidehunter is going to surprise everyone with his Blink Dagger. Has an opportunity right now for 4. Here comes the Ice Blast. Ravage is going to be thrown, but it will connect onto 0 heroes, and he gets it stolen by Spartan. This could be really bad. The Ravage is going to be thrown. Only hits on a general, but he's going to take a very quick fall because the Mystic Flare relaxed in the meantime. Grabbing 2 with the call. Is going to chop down 1. Now going on to Bogdan, who's silenced. Can't spin. He's going to get decapitated as well. It's a double kill for Relax. That was as bad as it could have been for GT and as good as it could have been for LC, outside of Rubik getting like a 5-man Ravage there or whatever. But now Rubik even has enough for gold for a Blink Dagger, and DT, they burned all of their spells. They're going to lose a tier 3 right now, if not more.
I'm afraid it might be more. At least Juggernaut still has the Omni Slash and has the Aghanims as well. This time around, of course, Ancient Seals just completely wrecked him. You were mentioning a possible meta style to come out. Paralyzing Cask is there, Ice Blast as well. Only connects on 2, but Kaiser will have to back off for now. So I guess they saved their racks, but 14 minutes in, they lost, what, 3 towers on this lane in the span of 2 minutes? That's
Something
just
like
kind
that.
of unacceptable.
Yeah, that's a lot of gold. Like, even though they saved their Raxes, when you're 14 minutes into the game, you're not supposed to be luckily saving your Raxes. You're supposed to be not even worrying about your Raxes. It's not supposed to be a thing. And now LC, because they just dominated those series of fights, they're going to go straight into the Roshan pit. They don't have a medallion or anything like that, and they are completely spotted out by these TA traps. I don't know if the trap spotted out Relax's Invis rune, because this could be really bad for DT if they don't know about this. He's going to, first of all, blow a smoke, so they definitely know that someone is here. They don't know who it is, although I think they could probably make a pretty educated guess. Relax is going to spot out absolutely everything, and with no Ravage, it's going to be really hard for DT to claim this fight. They're going to throw the Ancient Apparition Blast in first, only going to hit onto the Lycan, though, and now Arc is way deep in behind enemy lines. He's going to get lifted up and thrown down, although he might drop before he can get anything done. Even Bogdan can't even get the spin off. He has an Omni Slash. He's going to use it onto Kaiser. Will chop down the Wolf. Arc is still alive in the meantime. Ben, everyone else is dying for LC. Actually, Relax, a little bit too late to this party, is not going to get much done at all, whereas Skank's running away from Too Easy, as well as General. The Scarth Mage is doomed to fall here, and Relax, fighting up against Bogdan, is going to be forced to buy out. Double buybacks, though. Lycan and Rubik want to continue this fight, but a smoke up from DT, mostly to save Too Easy from a random Wolf. And it looks like DT, they actually managed to claim a fight, but it's not over yet because Relax is going to reinitiate with the Blade Mail up. Bogdan caught. He's not going to get decapitated just yet. Relax botched that one again. He will get bailed off by a Force Staff by Spartan. It looks like they won't even get Bogdan. Yet buybacks on the Rubik and Lycan. They have to get the Roshan here, else it's just such a huge waste. DT, I don't know if they could keep fighting this. They're going to send in another Ice Blast, which is going to connect onto a couple. Relax actually might shatter from this one. It's going to be very close, and I think it should be in lethal range. Now everyone else going to go for Kaiser. He's going to drop very low very quickly. This is a dieback for the Lycan. Death Ward now on the ground. Won't be cast for very long, but Spartan's still in the Blade Fury. He's going to be chopped down by Bogdan in the end. Madra just really wants this Roshan, but he's fighting up against the Templar Assassin. Magpire down, and Relax reinitiates Blade Mail once again. He's going to catch 3 in the call. He's going to kill all 3 of those heroes. Here comes Too Easy, but he's all alone right now. Might get the kill on the Axe, will do so. Madra is now awkwardly all alone. Bogdan going to rejoin this fight, but it's going to be another kill for the Ancient Apparition. Bogdan, in the meantime, getting picked off by Skanks. Are they done yet? Probably not, because Axe is bought back, and now Too Easy stuck in the river. He's going to fight up against Skanks, putting a lot of damage into this Ancient Apparition, but he's going to dodge the Cold Feet for now. Too Easy needs a little bit more crowd control. Blink call not quite up yet, but it will be there, and it will be enough to kill off Too Easy. Juggernaut is bought back, though. And actually, no, Too Easy's still alive. Nope, there's the chop down. He does get the Ancient Apparition Blast out, though, and Bogdan's going to Omni Slash Axe for the kill. Are they done yet? I don't think they are, because Roshan is still a huge objective right now, and Bogdan's going to try to do this all by himself. Does have the Aghanim Scepter completed at this time, but it's not going to help him with Roshan, especially if he gets hit with this concussive. He will dodge it by Blade Fury. And Roshan, in the meantime, is still just chilling, but here comes the already shapeshifted Lycan. Force Staff up. Spartan is going to land the telekinesis onto Bogdan, silencing him up as well. That'll be another kill. Now are they done? Could you guys stop, please? I think they're done. I think Roshan is going to go the way of London Conspiracy, but after all said and done, I have no idea who comes out ahead.
It is definitely hard to call. It was kind of even before this Juggernaut death in gold as well as XP, but that was without considering the 2 buybacks which happened for LC before, which was the Lycan as well as the Rubik. So I think in the end, just fight-wise, it probably kind of evened itself out, but LC finally get the Roshan. But they probably lost, maybe not lost, but I do still believe that DT in the end, they recovered a little bit considering from where they were when they just lost their tier 3 to where they are now.
Yeah, and the fact that they fought all of that without Ravage is definitely something to be said. I mean, they got absolutely crushed in the bottom lane when they had a Ravage ready to go. Of course, it didn't hit anyone, so basically they didn't have a Ravage, but they fought very well in these kind of scattered quarters. Not really the best for Ancient Apparition and the Witch Doctor, unless you actually land a huge Ice Blast in the Roshan pit. But in those running gun fights, that's where TA is king, that's where Juggernaut is king, and LC, it really just went poorly for them off of the first initiation by the Axe. I didn't get a good look at who actually was caught by that, but it definitely wasn't enough people. It wasn't the right people either. So I do want to say that LC came out ahead slightly on that just because they got the Roshan, and they will be able to push forward a little bit more. But DT's certainly putting up a huge fight, and really that's a testament to how great their heroes are inherently at fighting these early game skirmishes. But still, they have to face up against now a Force Staff on the Rubik. There is a Yule Scepter on the hero, so solo setups for Madra is on the table, and now partnering up with the Skywrath Mage. If they catch anyone with the Yule Scepter combination, then they will just die to a Mystic Flare.
Yeah, the Axe, with the first initiation from Invis, he actually caught a Ancient Apparition who had already used the Ice Blast, didn't even get the kill on him properly, so it definitely was kind of a fail. And he has messed up quite a lot of Calling Blades, but there's the Yule Scepter Ice Path to follow on the Ancient Apparition. Mystic Flare is there as well. Breezy, actually quite tanky with the point booster and overclub, but Mystic Flare is just a tad too strong still.
Yeah, he lived a lot longer than I thought he would, but still he is going to go down. I don't think anyone should be too surprised about that. It's a free kill for London Conspiracy. Now they're going to set their sights over towards the mid lane where there's still a tier 1 tower. Actually, no, it's going to be Arc. He's going to blink away from a concussive shot, gets spotted out by a courier, but looks like he will be just fast enough to escape, especially with Templar Assassin coming in. They secure a regen rune for themselves, but DT, they have the Blink Ravage available to them. Once Arc, of course, gets the Battle Hunger removed from him, but this tier 1 tower, though it's not really of the utmost importance that DT defend this tower, they actually have a reasonable shot at being able to defend it, just because Omnislash can usually take care of one hero. Maybe you get unlucky with the hits and maybe you go up to a couple of Lycan Wolves or some creeps, something like that, but you know, level 2 Omnislash could take out one and Ravage can stall out the others. So LC, their pushing is going to be a lot slower moving forward. They've done quite a good number with this push, but really with still tier 1 towers up, I don't think their pushing really got them as far as they really would like to.
Yeah, it definitely at one point looked like they're gonna go for it, but they're gonna go for Templar Assassin, another Ice Path, Mystic Flare, even the Macro Fires there, Dual Breath to follow. Well, that is a huge kill, and General did not purchase up a single item. He was up to 1.8k gold before the death. And I just meant to ask you as well, what's the item even? Has the Riffle Hammer? Is it gonna be a BKB or is it a Desolator?
And I mean, BKB isn't that great versus LC just because there's an Axe on the field. That and a Lycan on the field, but BKB doesn't really do much against those two. That being said, you have to protect yourself against the Mystic Flare at the very least, and I think going for a Desolator, it puts a little bit more pressure on your Tidehunter to perform, as you need to fight under the cover of that Ravage if you're actually going to get anything done. I think it's a lot safer to go for a BKB this game. It's not going to be as great of BKB value as you really would want a BKB to have, but really the alternative is just a little bit too risky, I would say. Either way, with that kill on the Templar Assassin, they're going to claim the rest of the mid lane. DT, they don't have to worry about the Raxes just yet, but I think it's just a matter of time before LC decide to slide down bottom, maybe with the help of this blue rune on the bottom river, and try to just take Raxes. Maybe not melee, but certainly going for something with the rest of this Aegis seems pertinent.
Oh man, if only they had vision of the double damage rune. Lycan even is carrying a bottle himself anyway, so bottling that up, saving it for the shapeshift. If they had a level 2, well, they do have a... Oh, never mind, it's in a level 3 Necrobook finish now as well on the Lycan. So if they pick up the double damage rune now, if they're just going to spot it out before, it actually might be a Rax, but then again, it's always going to be scary for them to go high ground when they know that every single ultimate on DT is up.
Well, they still have the Ravage, and they still have the Aegis for the Ravage, so that's pretty much all London Conspiracy can hope for. Right now, it's not going to get much better. They could maybe wait until a next Aegis, or try to bait out a Ravage, something like that, but assuming Spartan keeps his distance, and he's even going to go for an Aghanim Scepter, there is a reasonable chance for Rubik to jack that Ravage, and if he does, Force Staff his way in for a Ravage, hitting 2 people, that's all he really needs, then that could be a clean sweep of the Raxes. LC, they are going to go for this. They don't have that much time left on their Aegis, though. I think it should be time for LC to consider just chipping away at the range Raxes, get something while they're at it. They're going to smoke up, and that smoke isn't really going to be doing that much. DT, they're without their Ancient Apparition right now, but Ice Blast is going to be guaranteed to land on a couple, or should be. Who's it going to be? It's going to be Melee Raxes, actually. They're going to go all in on this one. Keezer doesn't have a BKB. He really wants to use the Aegis right now. He's going to take a lot of damage. Bogdan going to charge forward, but it's going to be a jump forward for Relax. Going to catch only one, actually, because the other one got Kraken shelled off. Relax has to disengage now. Here comes the Ice Blast. Going to connect onto all 5. Where's the Ravage? Not there yet, but the Death Ward is there. It's too late to save the Raxes. The Bogdan going to get caught in the Silence Mystic Flare combo. He's going to go down. Everyone else in LC still frosted up, but it's not really going to help them. Ravage now coming out onto 4, but there's no follow-up with the exception of Templar Assassin. Going to pick off the Rurik, but that's about it. Everyone else from LC going to back away. In the meantime, it's going to be Keezer to finish off a couple support heroes in the back end. Will die to a Maledict Urn combo right now, or should die. Yes, he will. It's not a defense from DT. They're going to get reinitiated upon, as General is going to get caught with that Ice Path call. He's going to get decapitated. Even the Tidehunter can get thrown up into the air. LC, they don't really have to fight this anymore. They already took the Raxes. They're going to fall back, even forcing a buyout from the Witch Doctor. It's nothing but wins right now for LC, though they do lose their Lycan in the end. Trading your Lycan for an entire set of Raxes, that's totally worth it. LC with a victory.
Yeah, and this early on, DT, I mean, they have a lot of damage with the Juggernaut and the Templar Assassin, but they don't have the greatest of heroes to actually deal with Mega Creeps to just push them out. Maybe if they had Battle Fury and Juggernaut, it would be perfectly fine. But that's just not the case. One thing, though, I have no idea why Axe just didn't stay around, wait for the Tidehunter to come down from the Evil Scepter and just use the Culling Blade, because he was in range. But they played it extremely safe at the moment, even with the Witch Doctor boying back, not having the Death Ward. They were just, no need to give away any more kills. We got the Rax, get next Roshan, probably go for the second set of Rax, and, well, DT, they even had a good Ravage in that fight, just Bogdan going down once again without using the Omni Slash.
Yeah, it was the pretty much perfect Ravage. It was literally a perfect Ice Blast to hit onto everyone, but there were staggered just a little bit too much. If I don't know what canceled the Tidehunter's blink. I think it might have been Battle Hunger there, but either way, Tidehunter just couldn't get in at the same time of that Ice Blast. If they did, with the BKB up on Templar Assassin, they could have swept everyone from LC. That would have been so devastating for LC. They probably would have taken range racks or one building there, but that would have been just about it. But DT, they got their ultimates off, but in the wrong order. So the sequencing just wasn't perfect, and LC just brute forced their way in. Of course, the Juggernaut, he has all this net worth, but he can't use any of it if he's not able to cast his skills. So he's really going to have a tough time up against the Scarith Mage, assuming the seal is reserved for the Juggernaut, and I think it should be for the remainder of this game. Either way, Raxes are down now for DT, and well, they're going to have the Ravage up in 15, though I don't know if LC really want to go for another push right now. They already took a huge win there, and maybe just waiting for a secondary Aegis should be the name of the game for them. Next time they make their push, Lycan's going to have a BKB, and, you know, if they do wait, then he should have an Aegis as well.
Yeah, Axe also picked up his own BKB already, so they're going to have the double BKBs going for themselves. Physical damage can still be pretty strong as well coming from DT, but if they fight like they have so far, like get the Berserker's Calls on 2 at least and whatnot, it should be perfectly fine for them to fight, even though the physical damage is rather high on DT. But there's a smoke now, they have their ultimates ready. They just need to find something, and that something can not only be a support or a Jakiro. I guess Jakiro can be counted as somewhat of a support at the moment, but they need to just preferably get the Lycan down.
Yeah, Lycan down or 2 heroes down, and right now they're very close to the Scarith Mage, and Scarith Mage has a little bit of cover with Jakiro, but now Jakiro's also in trouble. Skanks is gonna, he's gonna get bailed upon, I guess. He is doomed to fall. Relax. Flirting with Bogdan just a little bit. Omni Slash couldn't quite come out as Scarith Mage is going to be taken care of. LC, they lose 1 hero, but that's really acceptable for them. DT wasting a whole bunch of time with all their heroes just to kill off 1 guy, and it's a Scarith Mage. That's not worth it at all. Maybe if they got the Omni Slash off on the Axe, then that could have led them to a favorable trade, but right now, yeah, it's still technically favorable, but it's just not good enough at this point. Roshan going to be respawning in another minute, and LC, I mean, that Scarith Mage loss isn't really going to affect them at all.
DT, do they have any more smokes though? Nope, all out in the stock. Do they have somebody carrying a smoke? Also a negative, unfortunately for them. If they somehow manage to just smoke in while Roshan is going on by LC, go blink, Ravage, catch at least like 3, and win a fight somehow that way, and get Roshan for themselves, that could completely catapult them back into the game. But that's kind of the perfect case scenario. But speaking of smokes, LC only with 2 of them, but it's definitely a deadly combination of the 2 heroes. If they just find one, it is most likely going to be a death on somebody.
Templar Assassin is the one to be close by. Unfortunately for her, she does have a BKB, though unfortunately for DT, I think it might be the Tidehunter to take the brunt of it. Although, actually no, the Jakiro's falling short. No, actually Tidehunter is going to get initiated upon after all. Mystic Flare is going to outright kill him off. And okay, well, Tidehunter a little bit slow on the draw perhaps, but here comes the rest of LC. They are not going to wait for the Age because they don't have to anymore. They're going to try to force a buyout of the Tidehunter or just fight without Ravage. Either way, it's good for LC. That Tidehunter pickoff might just have forced LC to another set of Raxes. Nope, they're going to force the buyback of Tide back off after just committing a couple of Necro units. No one's going to care about that. And look at that, Roshan is up. So DT probably would have had to buy out with their Tidehunter anyway to contest Roshan, but LC just forcing their hand, and now they're in a position where they could take this as fast or as slow as they want to because bottom lane is being pushed.
If I'm LC, I probably think that, okay, we're gonna wait for at least the Shapeshift to come back off cooldown and the Necrobook maybe as well, and then go Roshan, just because if DT actually come to contest this, you want to have the Lycan at full power, you really do. I mean, otherwise, they might lack the damage a little bit. It depends on what Spartan manages to steal with the Rubik. But at the moment, DT, you can see that where they're positioning themselves on the map, they are so ready to contest Roshan.
And with the Ravage at the ready, Omni Slash as well, they are, as prepared as they really can be, with the exception of this Lycan Wolf just spotting absolutely everyone right now. It's actually going to see the retreat of DT, so LC, they're smoked up. They're looking for blood right now, and I don't think DT actually saw that. They smoked up LC way back behind their own lines, but they're going to wrap around, see that there's no one there. They could take Roshan extremely quickly. They don't have that much minus armor, but Lycan just by himself can do this, and it looks like he will get started. Here comes the Ice Blast, which will spot out the fact that Roshan is being done, but this might actually bring DT into false sense of security because here comes the Axe, going to land a call onto Mystic Flare, onto Arc. They're going to wipe out the Tidehunter with no Ravage. He has no buyback either. Omni Slash is there, but it's doing next to nothing. Bogdan now spinning away from the rest of the team. He might actually get away from this one. Here comes General from the back end, trying to go for Spartan, but that's not going to work either because of the Ghost Scepter. General now going to get munched into by Keyser. BKB does nothing here. Spartan going to chase forward for 2 easy. That's 4 down already. That's going to be 5. And buyback check, there's one on the TA, one on the Juggernaut, but that's not enough. That's GG.
What a fight, and I absolutely love the smoke movement there as well. And had they been smoked as 5, it wouldn't have been as great of a bait, but thanks to the Ice Blast scouting the Lycan out, it was just... It was definitely the perfect smoke, the perfect positioning, and the Axe getting the jump that he did. Tidehunter, once again, couldn't even ravage. Tidehunter just had more or less 0 impact this game. I wouldn't say 0, but it was definitely low.
Well, that is going to mark the end of Game 1. Tidehunter 0, 7, and 8 after pretty much the worst start you could ask for a Tidehunter. Hopefully for him, next game is going to be a little bit better. But London Conspiracy now 1-0 in the best of 3, guys. We'll be right back for Game 2. Might be joined by Egad, so Coucher, we're going to have to play this one by ear. But as usual, thanks for tuning in, guys, and hope you enjoyed the cast. Be sure to hit that follow button. But we'll be right back for the second game.